warm welcome to all of you to the 8th edition of the ET Now Iconic Brands of India 2025. As we all come together to celebrate the stories and the soul behind it and to celebrate all the iconic brands. That when we talk about iconic brands, it's not just about the names or the people that we remember, it is the one that we will never forget. Because when we look at the term iconic, it is not about being the loudest. It is in fact about having the loudest echo even after the noise is gone. So on that note, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you here. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's bring on stage the very man who decided to walk into the soul of India, which is why the opening address is the soul of Bharat. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gurcharan Das, author of India Unbound, former CEO of Procter & Gamble, and the management guru. Can we have the loudest round of applause, everyone?
Today we are building brands, but we sacrifice 2 generations. Those of you who did not have to work in that regime can only say that this is finally, this is what we are coming from. And it's really amazing. I wrote the book India Unbound when we became free, when we really got our freedom in 1991. And I predicted that we would rise, and India has obliged by rising. Thank you for listening to me.
We're talking about iconic brands this evening, and it is only befitting that we also move on to a fireside chat. We're talking about brand then, now, and next.
There's a brand vision that you would have set, let's say, in the last 5 to 10 years for yourself. How do you balance immediate term goals with the brand vision?
The guardrail that I keep in mind, at least, right, to make sure is that every action that I'm taking, the next step that I take, is it hurting the long-term future of mine? If it is, then yes, then I think the balance is going wrong, and then balance yourself back, right? And there are various ways to do it. I now have obviously developed that it's not only myself, right? But there are, you surround yourself with the right kind of colleagues who also make sure that they play a role. Because the urgency and the action bias will be the natural human tendency. Yeah, that's how it works for me.
Every small target or any short focus that we have, it is already a part of the bigger goal that we have. And it is already jotted down in a way for the next 3 years to 5 years. So our short-term goals are very, very clearly defined that this is what is a pathway to the success over the next 3 to 5 years. And that alignment is very important at the first go itself, because I think if I start talking about something very new today and start investing into something, it's going to take some time to probably give dividends. And being a Madhu, I can tell you that it takes about 999 days to make any business successful when you start from today.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, in a world of 30-second ads and 3-second attention spans, one man turned topicality into timeless branding. Please help me welcome on stage Mr. Rahul Dakunya as he takes us through what is all about the 60-second shelf test.
What today's session is called, which is the 60-second shelf test. From what I'm understanding is that the 60 seconds that you have to grab the attention of people, is it to grab their attention? Is it to communicate your full message? Or is it just a way of snapshotting what your brand is something which I think perhaps cuts across everything that we're doing right now. Are we facing an attention span deficit in our audiences? It's possible we are. I don't know if it's a question of attention deficit or do we just not have the time anymore. Earlier, the marketer had 60 seconds to grab the attention of a motorist as he drove past your outdoor. Now you got 60 seconds to grab the attention as a millennial scrolls down on his or her phone. It's the same principle, basically, that if you don't get the attention, and it's I know a lot of people who say, what has happened to us? Why can't there be a slow burn in your communication? The web series that we produce on OTT, the whole idea of the slow burn. But I think it's a slightly deeper thing than that, which is that how do we be able to communicate the message that we have as quickly as possible. Thank you.
With that, we're now about to march ahead to our next session coming up. And this is where we're focusing and talking about building cultural relevance in fast-changing market.
What are some of those things which you've tried to imbibe within the culture at Myntra? And what are some of those things which you've tried to keep away from the culture?
The way we kind of set it up is three-pronged. Right at the highest level is the vision. We want everyone aligned on why we do what we do. Then we have what I would call almost non-negotiables, which is in the bottom end of it, which is everything that we do has to be customer-centric. Everything that we do has to be data-based. And we've kind of loosely defined 4 behaviors that we think are super important. One is a healthy disregard for status quo. Yes, we like how things are done and the way they are done, but we always want to question it, because that is where we are as a country, where the world is, and we don't want to follow there. So a healthy disregard for that is important. The second one is innovate through experimentation. At any given point in time, we want creativity, we want new things, and we want to do it through experimentation, because that allows you to start small and then scale. The third thing is agility. We want to be faster than anybody else is at it, because we believe that will be a competitive advantage. And the fourth one is collaboration, that we do it together as a team.
So with that, what we're now going to do is take the art of storytelling forward, and we're about to brace ourselves for another exciting conversation coming your way. Ladies and gentlemen, we have none other than Sohali Khan joining us this evening at the Iconic Brands 2025. From royalty to films to writing and now podcasting. So if you could tell us a little bit about each and every sector of journey that has helped you become who you are today.
There's a lot of wonderful history. There's a lot of evolution, of course, from growing up and first being part of the developmental world, working with the Ford Foundation, then working with the bank and Citigroup, then embracing cinema, writing, and now podcasting. I think the idea, as everybody who wants to be successful, wants to be relevant, sometimes you need to pivot, sometimes you need to look beyond your comfort zone, sometimes you feel like creating and contributing, sometimes you feel like escaping and traveling. The idea is to be able to have the opportunities to do it all when you want to. And I think the world is becoming slightly more diverse and slightly more accepting of alternatives now.
We'll take that inspiration forward as we now set the stage for another riveting discussion coming your way. We call it iconic or irrelevant, because we're talking about branding for the long game.
How are you able to have the same messaging resonate with the Gen Z and the Gen Next, rather, I would say?
Under the entire context of trend jacking, moment marketing, or picking up topical stuff, what ends up happening is you try and put out a lot of stuff which is just adding to the noise. When you are able to map your purpose with a particular topicality that is happening, and if there's a way in which your brand purpose can organically fit into it, then you kind of pick that as an area to kind of have a meaningful conversation with consumer.
What we have seen in Alpha and Gen Z is that they are only connecting with brands who can walk the talk. So they purpose what they say and what they stand for. They should be able to do the, should reflect in its totality and not only in the comms. Second, we have seen is they're really looking for entertainment for the brands who can provide entertainment. I think they really open up on, say, Meta or parts of Instagram, YouTube. Third is the value exchange. Gone are the days when one way of making traditional films on TV and otherwise was working for us. But today it has to be a value exchange where there's a two-way comm between the consumer and the brand marketeer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're now setting the stage for something really, really, I would say, interesting. And I'll tell you why, because this is where we will be looking from the creative lens.
It's all about creating a unique sound for a brand. And we say brands are like human beings, And just as all of us here have different DNAs, so also do brands. We created a term we call MOGO, or short form for musical logo. And we say a MOGO is the shortest distance between a brand and a consumer's heart. Every brand in this day and age, in this digital age, every brand needs a MOGO, or musical logo. And once this MOGO is created, it must reflect the essence of the brand. So it's not just something random that you create, and it's not just a jingle, but it must reflect, when you close your eyes and you listen to that piece of music, the whole brand world should be evoked through that piece of music, of which the MOGO is the shortest form.
I firstly invite on stage Meenakshi Lekhiji, the former Minister of State for External Affairs and Culture of India, Government of India.
The biggest thing that Indians have, which I want to recognize today from this podium, that is the brains. The continuity of civilization that our culture has, which is a continuous civilization, nobody can ever take that away from us. And that intelligence that Indians have is able to solve every problem, no matter what. And that is what India has, and use our brains to solve our own problems, which our country is faced with today. So when we say make in India, make it for the world, is all about continuing the right policy, good governance, private sector coming together with public infrastructure, which has been created over past 10 years. And thus, the three things will further help build Brand India, and let's together continue to create the brave new world. And that brave new world will not happen unless all of us put our efforts together and create this brave new world. With these words, thank you very much. Jai Hind.
All right, all right. On that incredible note, we'd also like to take a couple of minutes of your time to take you through the evaluation methodology that actually got us to decide on this incredible list of the iconic brands of India.
While evaluating the study for this particular research, we had to go through certain steps. The step one being the selection of parameters and assigning weightage to it. Second step being the collection of data using secondary sources like print, social media, online campaigns, TV. So we collect data from there, and we put it in the data analysis, and then we evaluate the brand on that order. And finally, after taking the steps 1 and 2, we finally come to ratings and scores based on the parameters which have been selected.
At the ET Now Iconic Brands of India 2025, we're also incredibly honored to launch the Coffee Table book. We're talking about from 1,000 nominations that were evaluated, and then based on that, 200 companies that emerged as true trailblazers. So first up, I'm going to be requesting ma'am to unveil the digital copy of the Coffee Table book. And on that note, we now begin with the ET Now Iconic Brands of India 2025, the felicitations. First up, let's hear it for Vidya Herbs.
The main focus will be the passion driven by the focus and the achievement. If you want to be really an iconic brand tomorrow, you have to work hard and develop a passion for it, and then deliver. Yeah, it is a good experience, and then it's a real good platform to listen from various faculties and institutions, and then it's a learning experience.
And the next iconic brand, Elegant Steel from Shakumbhari Group.
Great brands ultimately become cultural symbols, and Elegant Steel stands for culture of bonds and trust. We champion the rich cultural belief that truly strong home held together by strong relationships. That's why our communication always celebrates trust between people, within the families, and across the society. and the trust they place with Elegant Steel. Elegant Steel is not just reinforcing structure, we are reinforcing the bonds that define for what we stand for.
Let me also invite the next brand on stage, Rahi Group.
The biggest risk that is there in today's time is not losing a brand's relevance, but erosion of complete trust due to the constantly changing environment. At Rahi, what we believe is that effective and responsible communication along with creativity and innovation, this is what we deliver to our customers, and we try to enforce sustainability, transparency and delivery of ethical values to the customers to manage our risk and sustain the brand legacy.
Let me now invite the next brand on stage, ladies and gentlemen, JK Tyre.
Becoming an iconic brand is just not about scaling alone. It's about building trust that lasts across generations. My advice to any emerging brand is simple. It is to stay true to your core purpose, as authenticity is what connects you to people. In today's fast-changing world, consumer expects more than just a product. They look for responsibility, consistency, and relevance. Invest in innovation, as technology and consumer expectations are evolving daily. Never underestimate the power of values. Brands that look beyond themselves as champions of sustainability and community engagement earn lasting loyalty and respect. At JK Tyre, our progress has always been guided by our core values of trust, performance, and purpose.
The next brand that's being felicitated is TVS Motor Company.
How does a brand get to be iconic? Staying true to our consumers over many generations, staying relevant, and staying ahead of the curve. It's not an easy pull, and this has been done over generations and generations of managers, products, services, and consumers. Staying true to our promise, staying true to the innovation of both our DNA of wanting to move forward, as well as being able to stand true to the customer at all points of time.
Central Bank of India.
So the kind of communication that we have started initiating with the current generation of employees and our customers is that while communicating with this particular generation, we have to connect with the ideas and things that concerns them, that concerns their present and the concerns with their future. Second thing that I believe that we need to keep these conversations at a very, very micro level, keeping the attention span in mind that the current generation is having, and because this particular generation is very, very sharp and very quick to understand, because they have been born in the digital era, they have been in the digital space since the time they were born. So that is how I feel that it is very important to do a two-way communication with them, connect with them at an emotional level, and focus on the areas that concerns them, their present and their future.
And now we invite the next iconic brand on stage, Finesta.
For any emerging brand aspiring to be iconic, one should follow this principle. Understand the customer's expectation, define your brand's value proposition, and innovatively deliver the brand promise consistently. At Finesta, we have spent decades building trust by delivering not just windows and doors, but solutions that enhance the way people live, bringing comfort, convenience, safety, and a better quality of life into every home. Iconic brands should not just sell products, they should create experiences and leave a lasting imprint in people's mind. So one should think long-term, innovate fearlessly, and always put customer at the center of everything that you do.
And let's hear it for Zebronics.
I would say, don't just chase trends. They will keep changing. Rather, focus on dimensions of being dependable. What really stays is trust. Innovation and aspiration, yes, are two important ingredients, but it must be accompanied with quality and reliability. Because a brand doesn't become iconic overnight. It's not made in one campaign, but it's built every day with continual innovation, sustainable presence on a foundation of hard work, passion, and most important, humility that helps you grow holistically. And that has been our journey to staying aspirational, staying ahead yet accessible, or as we call it, premium for the masses.
Let me please invite Kosol Energy.
Iconic brand is it's mean to us a lot because our tagline is energy engineer, and that's what we lived. And because we are energy engineers, we creating a lot of product, a lot of high energy, high efficiency product which can empowering solar living, and that endorse our statement and our vision towards the Iconic brand. And we believe that with this recognition, it's add a little more responsibility to work harder and take country to the next level.
The next brand making it to the iconic list of the Iconic Brands of India 2025, KPT Pipes.
My advice to any emerging brand today to be iconic tomorrow should be that they should always stick to their mission and vision, which they commenced from. They should stick to it, they should pursue it diligently and vehemently. The biggest risk to any brand in today's time is lack of commitment. If you falter on your commitments, obviously you're not going to be hailed as a brand in the long run. The storytelling and experimenting for Gen Z in the current environment is that the Gen Z should always strive for excellence, and they should commit to any task and pursue it with complete sincerity.
The next brand that's being felicitated is Leelavati Hospital and Research Center.
The biggest risk to brand legacy today is miscarriage of trust. Trust is a very important element in our medical world. Today, this can be misplaced and lost completely because of wrong decisions, wrong systems of working, and unethical practices. It's very, very important today that medical science has a elemency of human touch. That's why today in Leelavati Hospital, our logo is more than healthcare, it's human care.
We'll keep that applause coming, ladies and gentlemen, for M3M India.
There are a couple of things. One is trust before visibility. That is a very critical part. The second is, if there is an already existing brand hunting for the iconic glory, please understand that credibility is the most important facet. Be credible. Purpose needs to be married to the DNA. Any communication that goes out needs to be purposeful. It needs to showcase what you're building.
It's now time to invite the next brand on stage, Persistent Systems.
For 35 years, Persistent has engineered what the world runs on, from digital banking and healthcare to the AI platforms shaping tomorrow's enterprise. 22 consecutive quarters of growth and a 468% increase in brand value, making us the fastest growing IT services brand over the last 5 years, as recognized by Brand Finance. This reflects not just performance, but persistence with purpose.
Up next, let me please invite Saifi Hospital.
My advice for the emerging brands would be to develop pricing models which would cater to diverse economic strata, ensuring healthcare is made accessible to a broader population. and to put lots of emphasis on manpower training for better healthcare, rather than laying emphasis on swanky interiors and grandiose infrastructure. Emerging brands in the healthcare sector should prioritize affordability, accessibility, and efficiency while maintaining quality care.
Let's now felicitate the next brand, Daawat Beverages.
आइकॉनिक ब्रांड मेरे तरफ से तो उससे पहले तो ट्रस्ट ब्रांड के ऊपर होना चाहिए और शौक बोले तो कि जो चीज़ हम बना रहे हैं उसके ऊपर पूरा भरोसा और मार्केट में भरोसा दिलाना और मार्केट के अंदर एक अच्छी क्वालिटी देना कि लोगों को हर जगह हर एज के लोगों को अच्छा लगे तो वो हिसाब से आइकॉनिक ब्रांड बन सकता है.
The next brand that's being felicitated, Shriyam National TMT.
The biggest risk to brand legacy in today's world is losing the trust of customers. It takes years of hard work to build the customers' trust, and we, by investing in technologies, by doing consistent practices and caring for the customer experience and providing a sustainable community experience, we are able to manage to keep our customers' trust.